Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne, and in this podcast, I share my real-world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. Imagine getting a signed copy of a book by an author before they became famous. It's a real treasure, and I think that's the motivation for many self-published authors wanting to offer signed copies of their book, such as at book launch. But, well, you might not want to do that, and I'll explain why. First of all, signed copies of your book don't have much market value, at least yet. I'm really not trying to crush your dreams or crush your self-esteem, but you're not automatically a celebrity if you self-publish a book. There are millions of self-published authors out there, and the possibility of you becoming the one who's the breakout famous author for self-publishing is kind of like winning the lottery level chance. Now, your family and friends may be interested in a signed copy, but collectors of signed works, probably not so much until you really do become a celebrity author. Here's the biggest problem that I see with offering signed copies, and it's Kindle Direct Publishing and Amazon. Since it's the print book that you would be signing, there's no way to offer a signed copy of a print-on-demand book. The only way that that can be done is if you order a bunch of author copies, you sign them, and then you would have to offer them through fulfillment on Amazon. They used to have a program, and I don't know what the status is currently, but it was called Amazon Advantage, and that was for publishers who could, offer their books and other materials through that program. But that is, as I'm recording this, not an option for new enrollees. And you'd have to go with Fulfillment by Amazon or FBA by Amazon. That is a completely different adventure, and it could cost you. So that's why, just from a logistics standpoint, signed copies through Amazon is just crazy. And then you have to ask, well, how much should you charge for a signed copy? Since you're not famous yet, it really doesn't have any additional retail value beyond the price of the book. So I don't know how much of a premium you could even charge for it. The other cost factor involved is shipping, sales tax, income tax, all those other logistical nightmares with offering something to your readers. So let's say that you want to offer these signed copies. You're going to sell them on your website. I've ranted enough about why you don't want to sell direct to customers or readers because it's just such a logistical nightmare. So you have shipping issues. You also have sales tax issues. Surprise, surprise, you become a retailer at that point. And then, of course, you have income tax to worry about. But the shipping, I think, is one of the worst. So there's a lovely new author that I encountered on social media, and she was going to be offering signed copies of her book. So she offered it on her website, charged a flat shipping and handling fee, which was fine if she got a lot of orders from in the country. Unfortunately, she got an order from halfway around the world. The shipping on that was over $90. Well, the reader paid for the standard shipping and handling. So what she did was she did right by the reader, and she just ate the $90+ cost. But then she did right by herself and changed her website to domestic orders only. So I think lesson learned. Then there's the option of signed book plates. Now, what is a signed book plate? It's usually a sticker of some sort that the author signs, and the reader who gets the book plate can put it into the book on one of the front pages, thus creating a sort of signed copy. It's a really efficient way to offer signed copies, but they're not without logistical problems as well. How are you going to know who bought the book? So I saw one author who had those readers who purchased the book and wanted this extra book plate thing. They would have to send her a copy of their Amazon invoice, but then you have to deal with the shipping of the book plate, which granted, it probably fits in an envelope, but still, it's a cost to you as an author. You have to print the book plates, you have to have envelopes, you have to have postage, you have the time it takes to put the book plate together. And even though it's a small thing, if you charge for that book plate, then you have the sales tax issue again. Signed copies are just such a pain. And then one of the other issues with signed book plates is then the reader has to share their personal address and personal contact information, and some of them may be a little unsure about doing that, to a random author person. So then there's privacy issues. Oh, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it? I think signed copies are just such a logistics problem. Now, you could offer a signed copy as a reward. One of my author friends did a Kickstarter campaign for her book, and she was offering a signed copy as part of the investment and sponsorship package. So she had all their information as investors or sponsors anyway, and so she sent it to them. She covered the costs because they essentially paid for it as part of the sponsorship package. So I guess there's the possibility of doing that, but that's a really special case of signed copies. So what about signed ebooks? Short answer, no. There's no way to do it. That's kind of a fanciful idea anyway. And you have to remember too that people who are buying your Kindle ebook, they're really more interested in the content and not really the print copy. I hope I've given you a lot to think about as it relates to signed copies. And if you found it helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to The Heidi Thorne Show on whatever podcast platform you like to use. I'm on Apple Podcast and Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Amazon TuneIn Radio, Podbean. Pick your favorite. I'm also on YouTube. And if you'd like to get the video version better, that's fine. You just have to subscribe to my Heidi Thorne YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so you get an alert when a new video is out. I would appreciate it if you would share either the podcast or the video with your friends on social media. And if you'd like to see my self-published books, and no signed copies are available, by the way, they are on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. All you have to do is look for my name, Heidi Thorne. My author page will come up and you'll see the list of books available there. If you'd like to connect with me, my website is very simply HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode. And in the meantime, have a great day.